We should be live. I'm just gonna go to Facebook here. Good morning, happy Friday. Looks a little damp, but guess what? It's Friday. For those of you who do get to go to work, hold on, public. All right, so now it's shared publicly. So now I should see comments. Yeah, so happy Friday. Welcome to the last edition of Morning Brew for the week, but obviously we will be back on next week. I'm also, what's up, Matt? See that? They're coming through. All these tests that I've been running on my downtime have started to pan off. So, yeah, good morning, Mary. Next week, we'll be doing Morning Brew again. I'm going to keep this going as long as humanly possible. I have started, I've got a Twitch account that I think I'm going to hopefully next week maybe start doing, possibly doing some off Facebook side over there, more podcast style, but it'll be solo podcast, which it'll go from YouTube as well as over to Twitch. So all of this stuff now will be saving directly to YouTube, also to my Facebook page, so you'll be able to reference back. Trying to just give you guys a bunch of resources, so even when we come out of this, we can still kind of find some semblance moving forward. All right, so yesterday we talked a little bit about stress. That seemed to be a big topic for a lot of people. So then I started thinking about it more afterwards, and I was like, all right, so I kind of ended with, this is the, like the common things of going, special editions. I won't sing Baby Shark on Saturday, Matt. See, and now with this, now you guys can see what I'm responding to when I respond to someone's question. But we talked about, like, you get in your car, you go to work, all of that end of the stress in life and such. So today I was kind of thinking, like, okay, well, a lot of you are stuck at home, and I know that it's extremely difficult. As I talk to a lot of my clients about it, one of the big things that we discuss is there's something, even though it can cause stress, there's something about that routine of, like, I get up at 6, I eat my breakfast, I take my shower, I get in the car, I drive 10 minutes, I get to work, I do my work thing, I leave work, I go to the gym. There's something about that routine that for a lot of people, having that structure, having that routine is very important. We talk about it when we talk about James Clear with habits and all of that. So now all of a sudden, your routine is, I can now get up at 7, I can have breakfast, I can just put on a shirt and not pants and walk into my office and hang out. And by the way, I do have pants on. So it's just totally different. And then you also, again, like you're in your home environment. So now you've got to teach your kids math at the same time as you're trying to get work done. So, like, I get it. There's a ton of stress. So what can you do? And this is in no particular order. This is kind of like as it kind of comes to me, which typically comes backwards, but, starting at the end of the day. So we say that, we as like the scientific community will say blue light is a huge problem. And blue light is found in every light bulb basically known to mankind. So our body naturally makes melatonin. As the sun starts to, like, lessen its strength in the afternoon because it's getting further away, it's starting to set, our melatonin levels naturally rise, which naturally bring us down. So what do? We turn on more lights in our house, which re-stimulates our brain. When you watch TV, stimulates your brain with the blue light, with the action, with all the lights, the changing colors and stuff. Same thing when you look at your phone. That's why iPhone came out with night mode, so you can shut that off. But still, you're still stimulating those senses. So I should start. Hold on, we will pause my thought, because David Price used to be a triathlete. Now he's retired from the sport, And I will start every session with 50 burpees right after I see you do 50 burpees, David. Thank you. I miss you, buddy. We got to race again someday. So we get a ton of stimulation that way. So what are some things that we can do? Before we go to bed, instead of scrolling through Facebook or reading a book on Audible, grab an actual hardcover, softcover book and, challenge yourself and say, I'm going to read for 10, 15 minutes. People always joke around like, oh, every time I'd start reading a textbook, I'd fall asleep. Right. That's the idea. Like you're allowing yourself to downregulate. So grab a book. And again, don't find one like, some kill book that's going to you're going to start reading it and be like, holy shit, I got to stay in this. Morning, Suzette. Find a book that you can read, you can pull information out of, but at the same time, it's still helping you to downregulate. It's a great practice to get into before you go to bed. Even if you just say, if we do it the James Clear model and we say, you know what, I'm going to commit to 3 pages a night. And, because I know that on any given night, I can read 3 pages. All right, that's simple enough. So then what do? After you make your bed in the morning, put that book on top of your pillow. So as soon as you get into bed, you've got to pick that book up. And then you're like, well, I've got the book in my hand. I might as well read my 3 pages. So there you go. Now you have another way that you can start to do that. Second thing on my list, and this is something that I was actually just reading yesterday, is get outside. I keep telling everybody to go outside, to be outside. Don't stay inside. Get outside. I don't know how many ways I can say it. According to the EPA, 87% of most people, let's just say our time, is inside. So we spend 87% of our day inside, and then another 6% of our day in cars. So for some people, obviously you've eliminated that 6% because you're not in your car nearly as much, but 87% of our time on average is inside. You wonder why your kids are crazy? 87% of their time is inside. So even if it's raining, let your kids go outside, put a raincoat on, put rain boots on, go outside, do some of that stuff, walk up to the mailbox, walk down past your neighbors and back, utilize when you have 15 minutes to be able to go outside, or, if you have 15 minutes, just go. I know when people would be going to the office for work, they'd walk around their office building because they wanted to get out of that stale, stuffy environment. And if they didn't get out of that environment, then they were stuck. Do the same thing at home. Get outside, go for a short walk. Anything that you can do outside, you're going to get, and the thing is sunscreen, it's going to block a lot of that vitamin D absorption anyway. So, and honestly, today it's not sunny. You got nothing to worry about. You're not going to get sunburned. So get outside. Fresh air is going to feel good on your skin. It's going to feel good with your senses. It's going to help you just awaken. And you're moving. You're opening your hips. You're standing a little bit taller. Your chin is up, like you're acknowledging the world. So get outside, period. Move to clear your mind. So what I mean by move to clear your mind is, even if you work out every day and, Matt, Mary, myself, we're all training for a race. Honestly, none of our races are going to happen. It would be nice if the race directors would come out and say that, because it would be the intelligent thing to do, but they're not. So every now and then, like yesterday, I went for a bike ride. It was not at all what was my scheduled workout, but I was like, I want to go for a bike ride. So I went, I rode my bike. And during that time, it allowed me to think about what I was going to talk about today. It allowed me to kind of plan some other things, use movement as a key to kind of get your brain moving. If we're sitting there, if you put your headphones on and you go in your basement and you're David Price and you're cranking out your 50 burpees to start your day, all you're focused on is you're listening to that noise in those burpees up and down. versus if we back off the gas pedal just a little bit, we take the earbuds out, and now all of a sudden you have the ability to think and listen while you're doing movement. And that's when an idea is going to pop in your head. When you're sitting there listening to Eminem or, Drake or some kind of hard rock, you're not going to be like, oh, that's how I wanted to be able to clear my mind later. No, you're just in that zone, right? So, and there's a time and a place for it, but there's also a time and a place to be able to just move for the sake of movement, move to help open up your shoulders, open up your hips, get outside, open up your mind a little bit, because that's when a lot of ideas happen. When I was running JFK 50 miler, someone asked me, they're like, what did you think about the whole time? I was like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea what came into my head. And, because an idea would come in and you're like, oh, that's a great idea. I should write that. If I could write that down, I would, but I'm kind of in the middle of running something. And then it kind of goes away. And then something else comes into your head, because it's things that you see along the way when you're doing stuff that will spark an idea. And then you're like, oh, I got to remember that. And most of the time you forget it. So, but get out, move to clear your mind, and not for a race. So it's okay to go out and do a workout, to go ride mountain bikes at Skytop or any other place, just to go have fun. Like, that's why we're all doing that. None of us, I don't think anyone who listens to this is a pro athlete, except maybe Jill the Olympics were canceled, so she's not going. So go out and ride your bike, have fun, go out, go for a walk, go for a run, go for a hike, social distance yourself while you're doing that. But just get outside. That's the whole point. Move, get outside. It's going to make you feel 100 times better. 2 more points. Create a plan with your family to have systems in place. And what I mean by that is structure. Again, like the first thing I talked about was the structure of, you get up, you take your shower, you eat your breakfast, you take your shower, you get in the car, you drive to work, you do all that stuff. There's a reason that works so well. Create something like that with your family, where it's like you're telling your kids, like, hey, let's, I know you guys don't want to do your schoolwork. I don't want to have to help you do your schoolwork, but we're both in this shit sandwich together. So let's figure this out. And from here to here is when we're going to work on this. And from here to here is when we're going to work on that. Otherwise, these are other things that I want you to do. And you can give them checklists. Like, I want to do, a family thing outside, or I want to do, I want you guys to help out with this, so you're delegating, some of this stuff that you can delegate. There's a great Stephen Covey. He has this thing that really it's important and urgent. He has these 4 blocks. And I don't know if I've already spoke about it, but I will if I haven't. He has 4 blocks. So it's important, urgent, not urgent, not important, or urgent. And basically you kind of divide your stuff up into these 4 blocks, and you say, like, okay, if it's important and urgent, like, that needs to be done right now. But if it's not important or urgent, i.e. it's an escape, entertainment, like Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, wait on that stuff. A lot of people spend most of their time in urgent but not important stuff. So, versus you should be spending your time working on your opportunities, critical thinking, important, not urgent matters. So, things that are important, because that's where you're going to see this growth. And I'll talk more about that. But again, sit down and create a plan with your family where you can start to kind of categorize and be like, okay, what are the most important 3 things we need to get done today? Okay, let's make sure those happen. How can we make sure those happen? What are some other things that if we get those done and we have time that we can also do? Let's make those happen. So like you're setting yourself up for success. You're not saying we have these 42 items we have to get done by the end of the day, and if we don't, then we have failed. It's let's look at these items that are absolutely most important and categorize them A, B, C, and D. And what can you delegate? What can what do you need to do? What can they do? So it creates a better system in place. And then lastly, and this kind of ties back to get outside, move more, is allow the kid in you to show. So it's okay if you are a lawyer, a doctor, or someone who is more important than everybody else in the world to go outside and get muddy or play. It's absolutely fine. No one will judge you. You know why? Because everybody secretly inside wants to do that. That is why, like, triathletes swim in like the dirtiest water. They allow the kid in them out more oftentimes than not. In ultra runners, the reason that is getting so popular, why do people do Spartan races? Why would you ever go crawl through a muddy pit? Welcome to $1 million idea, probably $1 billion idea at this point. It allows you to be a kid again. When we were kids, like, I posted a video of Jerry at 7:30 last night playing in the creek. It's like 40 degrees outside. He's sitting there playing in the creek, building a waterfall. That was the second day in a row we've done that. The only reason we had to go in was because Kevin kept running across the neighbors. And if you know where we live, our neighbors are, he's now half a mile from home. So it's kind of hard to call a cat. But, we're going out in the woods this morning to plant trees. It's just get out and allow the kid in you to show. Allow your kids to see a side of you they may have never seen. Let them see this parent that, oh, wow, mom and dad were down on their hands and knees, like, playing in the mud, and then mom took someone threw it at me, and there's nothing wrong with that. So have fun, be a kid. But again, like, everybody is stuck in the same stressful situation. So think outside the box. Think about, okay, if I was a kid, like, don't put them in front of an iPad. Take them outside and find fossils with them. Make it a science experiment, like any of that stuff to get them. Jerry found, actually, I didn't find it. He found it in the creek the night before. Crawfish, and so I was like, all right, well, let's go up to the house. We'll get a bucket. We'll come back down. We'll bring it inside. We'll show mommy, and then we'll take it back out after dinner. And that was like, so last night, that was why we were down at the creek. He wanted to check on his crayfish to see if it was still there. It's little things like that, get your kids outside, get them doing things that you were doing before we had Facebook, Instagram, whatever the TikTok thing is, and all that other stuff. Get outside, have fun, but use that as a very big tool to help you eliminate some of the stress in your life. Because again, 87% of your time is stuck inside, versus that 87% we could split between home life, work life, and gym life. Now it's just home life. So there's no wonder you're all pissed off and stressed out, because you're spending so much time inside. Change those numbers around a little bit, knock that down to 80. So, and kind of document, like, okay, so how long when was the last time I went outside? Oh, yesterday to bring the trash can down. Well, maybe make that 2 trips. Get the trash can on one, get the mail on another. Don't worry about being efficient when you go outside. So that's it for today. The key take-home message is to stay outside of your home, on your property, socially distanced, still social distancing, because that's still in effect. But again, spend some time outside. That's where you're gonna start to deregulate some of this stress. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope the broadcast went well today. Again, I'm still trying to play around with this Restream Studio stuff. And then next week, I'm gonna try to get one of my athletes on here who has an amazing story that I want to share with you guys, and it'll be a very big tool from a motivation perspective. And and we're going to go from there. So next week will be another awesome week. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys then. Have a great weekend. And to answer Matt's question, yeah, maybe something special on a Saturday every now and then. But tomorrow's supposed to be nice, so let's all just go outside and ride our bikes. It's supposed to be 60 out. No snow tomorrow. Look at that. Have a great weekend, guys.